what does gutsy mean to you?
Oh my gosh, I sat with this question for a while. I love it so much. It's my favorite part of your podcast when I
Yay.
listen. So, I think in this moment, since that is thematically what we've been talking about, gutsy to me is being in the paradox of my desires.
Mm.
So, what I mean by this is this desire for freedom and discipline at the same time, and how paradoxical those are, but I want both, and how to like lean into the friction. Or I am trying to lift heavy things and be stronger, and I have a really soft, gushy belly because I've had a hysterectomy and nothing looks the same in the middle of my body anymore, right? So it's like strong muscles, soft belly, or fiercely wanting to belong and then craving my independence. And instead of like one or the other, it's like both. I desire both. How do I live in that friction, the paradox of those two things? So that feels super gutsy to me right now.
Welcome to the Gutsy Podcast, the show where you learn how to own what you actually want and shift the mind junk that's been holding you back. I'm Laura Ora, keynote speaker, coach, and your guide to help you get clarity, build confidence, and make the gutsy moves that change your life. Each week, I'm going to help you simplify things by teaching you how to get out of your head while stepping into action. This way you can achieve all those life shifts that you've been overthinking. Your desire, that drives you. But gutsy, that's what gets it done. There are seasons in life when everything looks fine, right? Like you've built the good life, maybe even a great one, but there's still this quiet feeling that you can't quite shake. It's not that you're ungrateful or that anything's necessarily wrong, but something inside of you keeps saying there's something else. There's more. But the tricky part is that more isn't always a new job, a new relationship, or a big life change. Sometimes it's simply a signal, an invitation to stop long enough to ask yourself a question that so many women have forgotten how to answer. And that is, what do I actually want? In today's conversation, I'm joined by Katie Pulsifer, and we're talking about that ache for more. Why so many women feel stuck even when life looks good on the outside, and how we've become so practiced at knowing what everyone else's needs are that we've lost touch with what we want. We dig into the stories that our brain tells us, the guilt that's been passed down through generations, the courage it takes to question what you've always considered to be normal, and why the smallest moments of honesty with yourself can completely change the direction of your life. If you've been feeling like something is shifting, I can feel that moving inside of me, but I can't quite put words to it yet, this conversation is for you. Katie is a master certified life coach and creator of the Golden Coaching Certification, supporting women who have outgrown the lives they once built and are ready for something more aligned. With over 13 years of experience, including 5 years as an executive leader at the Life Coach School, Katie has trained thousands of coaches and guided high-achieving women to move on from overwhelm and people-pleasing into clarity, self-trust, and purpose. Through her coaching and certification programs, she helps women reclaim their voice and build the lives that truly feel like their own. One of the things that Katie and I dig into is the signal of the stuckness. Like, how do you know when you're feeling that ache? Like, what does that actually look and feel like in your life? One of the ones that she shared with me, I didn't want to go to work anymore. Let's get into it. Hello, Katie. Welcome to the Gutsy Podcast.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fabulous now that I'm talking to you.
Oh, I'm so excited for this conversation.
Oh, me too. This is a good one. We're talking about that ache for more, right? And
Mm.
specifically in this part of life where things have transitioned, your role and responsibilities have changed, you're starting to see things from a new angle. I really love this conversation. We'll dig into this more in a little bit, but like, oh, I built this amazing life and I should be grateful for it, but what's going on, right?
Hmm.
I'm curious, did you have this moment?
Oh, yes, yes.
I want to hear your version of this story.
And I keep having this moment. I don't
Mm.
think it's just like a one-time thing. I mean, I've had it when I've grown when I grew restless in marriage number one, and it no longer was a relationship that I felt brought out the best in me. I felt small and quiet in that marriage. I also felt it when the corporate career that I had strived for forever and ever and ever and got, far up and had the big team. And all of a sudden, I didn't want to go to work anymore, and there are little ways that I still have it, as I make peace with a body that is in my mid to late 50s that is changing every single day. And there's an ache for, like, okay, what is this body supposed to do now? So I think it's a thing that we can confront often. And unfortunately, a lot of times as women, make it mean something's wrong, or we often don't have time to really dig in and get at what the signal is, what the ache is trying to tell us. So it's like, nope, I'll take care of that later. I'll get to it sometime. And I just think it's a beautiful, beautiful messenger that is coming from within that's inviting us to pay attention.
Yeah. You said exactly where I wanted to go next with this, which is
Mm,
the signal,
hmm.
right? Because it's easy to dismiss. It's easy to I'll deal with that later. I'm kind of curious in your journey and maybe even some of the women that you've worked with, what are some of the that kind of like disruption underneath that, kind of grumbling, that feeling, that pull, that signal? What does that
Mm,
often sound, look, or feel like when you know that something is
ye-
trying to tell you something?
yes. So I think many women, men also probably, I don't tend to work with as many men, but so I don't want to leave them out. I'm not meaning to purposefully, but I think we can label it as stuckness often. I think that's probably the most familiar. There's like I know what I want to do, but I kind of can't quite get out of my own way or get going, or I do get going a bit, but I can't make any real progress. There's the thing that I'm seeing so much right now is I know that I want something. I just feel like I can't articulate it. I don't have the language for it. I don't have the words, or maybe I haven't ever seen anyone else do it. So I don't believe it's possible. So those are some of the most common ways I think that um, there's there is a signal alive within us that we're trying to make sense of, that we might use the language of stuckness, or I want something, but I don't know how to talk about it. I don't know that I'm allowed to talk about it.
That's a big one. I don't know that I'm
Yeah.
allowed to talk about it.
Yeah.
And especially I feel like that really pairs with, I haven't seen anybody else in my world do this,
Yes.
or no one else has done this ahead of me for me to talk
Hmm.
to or model. So what are your thoughts around when you're feeling this kind of disruption? You've not seen anybody do it. You're not sure if you can talk about it. So then you just kind of stay in your own head. What do we do with that?
Yeah. Well, I think the most important thing that we have to understand is our brains and our human brains that are, I mean, let's be blunt, lying to us all day long.
Yeah.
All day long. They do not care about our happiness. They do not care about our fulfillment. They do not care about our biggest goals and ambitions. They love the life as they know it today. And they love it even more if that life looks like what it did last month or last year. So they are working against us all the time. So the first thing that I would love your listeners to remember is that just because the brain comes up with, well, no one's done it in your family before, or I don't think that's possible for you, or what if it doesn't work out, to be incredibly suspicious of that answer because it is likely a lie. It
Yes.
likely has zero to do with reality and 100% to do with the brain wanting your life to stay exactly the same.
And that's not because it doesn't, the brain is so interesting. It only knows what it knows.
Yes. Yes.
So, you know, it wanting to look like it doesn't want change because it's only familiar with what it knows up until this point. And
Yes.
so when you go to make this change or you start even considering what this shift might look like, it looks like a threat to your brain. Not because it's a bad idea, not because you can't and shouldn't do it, but because your
Mhm.
brain's not familiar with it. So therefore it
Mhm.
starts freaking out.
Yes, exactly. A teacher of mine said, your brain is lazy and loyal. And it's such a good way to, such a good way to sum it up because it's lazy and defaults to what it knows and it's loyal to what's familiar. So I don't think means to work against you, but it's often working against you and what you most want. And so, yeah, questioning it, being a little suspicious, a little curious, like, where did that idea come from? What if that's not true? That's like a great follow-up question. Like, what if my brain's perspective isn't correct here? Just to like kind of like, I don't know, throw a wrench in things, you know?
Well, I mean, that's a powerful moment in its own when you're
Hmm.
like, I mean, could there be an alternative here? You know,
Yeah.
just because I'm thinking it doesn't mean that it's real and true.
Yes.
Let
Yes.
me play my own devil's advocate here and challenge myself in
Hmm.
this.
Hmm.
You also mentioned about not being able to articulate it, right? Like there's this feeling,
Mm.
there's this
Mm.
disruption, there's this like unease, and I know that a lot of women in this space, it's like something feels off or not quite right, but I can't put my finger on what it is.
Hmm.
How do you dig in to start figuring out what this feeling is
Mm.
and what it's telling you?
Yeah. Well, I always love to begin with a heaping dose of self-empathy and compassion. And we often think, well, if I can't articulate it, something's wrong with me. Or my favorite thing ever was always, if I can't articulate it, that must mean I'm not smart, because my brain was always looking for the evidence that I'm not as smart as everyone else, which is total bullshit, I realize, but I still, like, my brain will default there so fast and I have to still catch it. And so there's some patterning often that will be running behind the scenes that will block us from our knowledge and block us from our wisdom. Or, to be honest, I think we're just out of practice. I mean, we are so good at knowing kids' best friends' birthday and what they want. But when it comes to what we want, we're often like silencing that out or tucking it away because there are so many other things to track and be responsible for. So often, if we start with empathy and we start with self-compassion, of course it's hard to know what I want. Of course it's hard to know how to articulate it because my brain is filled with what everyone else wants. My brain prioritizes everyone else's needs. So I think if we can meet ourselves there with um, tremendous like I love to say seeing, hearing, and understanding ourselves. Like if we can just be there in that moment of partnership, not making ourselves wrong, then we will begin to be able to find those answers.
Hmm. What does that look like in the moment?
Okay, so if you are searching around inside of you for like, what is it that I want? I don't know. And you're so used to like tamping it down, shutting it down, postponing, figuring it out. I am a big fan of like going for a walk, taking myself for a walk, spending time with myself and trying to tune out. I mean, even if it's 5 minutes, 5 minutes is better than nothing. But can you spend 5 minutes of uninterrupted time with yourself? Can you get yourself outside even? Without a podcast, without social media in your hand, even without a journal, but could you just sit and look at something outside or move your body outside and sit with the question, what do I want? What do I even want in this moment? It might just be to enjoy the sound of the birds or to not think about the next 4 hours of appointments on my calendar. The smallest micro practices of like meeting yourself to ask that question and hear the answer, you will begin to get better at it with practice.
Yeah. That listen, outside time,
Hmm.
underrated. Away
Yeah.
from technology, double underrated.
Yes.
And you put those two things together, you can feel like a whole new woman
Right.
in 10 minutes or less.
Right, right. And what is like breaking my heart a bit right now is like when we think, I'll just go to AI and I'll have AI help me figure out what I want. I use AI to help me build things that I do not know how to build, but like anything that we're doing that disconnects us even further from ourselves, where we outsource our knowledge of ourselves to something else or someone else. Wow, I want everyone to like really consider what that is doing to us. It's
Yeah.
pulling us farther away from ourselves.
I couldn't agree more. I found myself I started to notice, when I was using AI, I use it, like you said, figuring things out that I don't know. Oh yeah, all that kind of techie stuff that blah. But I noticed I started kind of outsourcing my thoughts and my ideas. And,
Hmm.
chat is really great at, patting you on the back and giving you a high
Yeah.
five. And,
Yeah.
that's a very slippery slope because it feels good to be celebrated. And I don't know, I just had this jarring moment where I was like, Laura, the more you use this, the more disconnected you are with your own work, with your
Mm-hmm.
own message, and with your own ideas. And it's like I just started noticing
Mm,
the depth of my knowledge started to feel a little bit shallow. And I was like, and we're just kind of in the beginning of this. I was like, no, we're nope.
mm-hmm.
That was a
Yep.
hard pass for me. I was like, I want to feel it all. I want to explore it all. Yes, I
Yeah.
can use it to figure out some, in between pieces, but like you said, that outsourcing of your thoughts, your ideas, your plans, paired with the validation that it gives, man, I
Yes.
I can see
Yeah.
this being an issue.
Oh, I just did this. I just did like a major audit myself of like even business gurus and mentors and AI and all the places that I was outsourcing because I had this image that I was becoming a copy of a copy of a copy of a
Yeah,
copy of a copy of a copy of myself. And I was like, ooh, I don't know whether that is me or that sounds like me or that sounds like maybe something I might say someday in the future. I was like, okay, enough, enough, enough. I've got to like reconnect to me. What do I want? What am I thinking? What am I feeling? What do I have to say? And the truth is that often that's uncomfortable. And you named it beautifully when you said that affirmation that it gives, that high five, that approval that's built into all of this stuff. We crave that. But sometimes, like a coach or a mentor or a friend that we have a great like accountability relationship with can replace that as we're working through, hey, I think I want this thing. I feel this ache. I think I want this thing. Help me say it out loud, create safety and space for me to acknowledge it. And let me see if this is real versus trying to sort it out with AI.
absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Good sidebar conversation there that we needed to have today.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
So, in this last portion, you were talking about this gargantuan question that is just so tiny but feels like the world sometimes, which
Mm,
is, what do I want?
yeah.
It's a very
Hmm.
simple question that's
Hmm.
incredibly complex. And I know for a lot of women, it's like, I have no idea. No one's
Hmm.
ever asked me that before. I've
Hmm.
not been able to slow down long enough to even think about that.
Hmm.
Where do you recommend, or how do you recommend starting to explore that, especially for the women that what they want has been on the back burner for a long, long
Mm,
time?
yeah. So again, I think so important to normalize that not having an answer to that question is totally fine. You won't not have an answer to that question forever. But if you are asking yourself, if you're listening and you're asking yourself, what do I want? And you find nothing, it's okay. It is absolutely 100% okay. You are doing everything right. And your brain is habituated to not being able to find an answer to that question. Your brain is habituated to knowing what everyone else's want, what everyone else wants. There we go. And that's okay. So I think normalizing is really, really, really important. We talked about getting outside, connecting with nature, I think is really inspirational. My other favorite thing that I love to give clients to do is what I call a joy list. And it's just a blank piece of paper or a journal and tapping into your senses. Our senses are so wise. So a question like, what do I love to eat? What do I love to smell, hear, taste, feel? Sometimes that activates the most incredible memories. That I did this exercise back in 2014 when I was like at an absolute midlife crossroads, and I stared at a blank piece of paper for 45 minutes in a restaurant in New York City, not having a freaking clue what I wanted. And after 45 minutes and a big glass of wine, the first thing that came out was a juicy peach.
Mm.
And from there, it was like, oh, and I love sunshine on my shoulders. And I love the sound of applause in an auditorium. Oh, I haven't been to a concert lately. Wow, and then my brain just, it couldn't stop adding to that list. But I had to get, more of my body involved in the answer instead of my brain, because my brain was coming up with nothing. Does that make sense the way I'm explaining it?
Oh, absolutely. Because it's kind of like, I don't know. Sometimes, someone will come up to me and they're like, "Oh, what are you working on?" And all of a sudden, my brain goes blank, and I'm like, "I
Yeah.
have no idea. I mean, I've got 40 things happening, but I couldn't tell you one of them right now." So I
Yeah.
think it's kind of that same situation
Yes.
where you sit down and you're like, "Okay, brain, I'm here and I'm ready. Let's do this." And your brain's
Mm-hmm.
like,
I don't
what,
know. What? What?
what, are we gonna like wine and dine this first? Like, yeah, I love getting the senses involved. I think that's a really
Mm-hmm.
fun way to just, to me, this is an exercise of remembering.
Yes.
So
Yes.
sometimes when we think about what we want, we're thinking about the future, which is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But I like what you just shared is remembering what you already want.
Yes.
Remembering the things that already bring you joy or make you
Mm-hmm.
happy or that you've been
Mm-hmm.
craving, because that's
Mm-hmm.
already been in your orbit. That's your brain has context around that.
Right, right. And who knows where it will lead? Like for me, all of a sudden I was like, I'm not listening to music enough. I'm not going to concerts enough. And then boom, all of a sudden I make that a priority in my life, changed everything for me. And so I think activating from the past, but also allowing it to inspire and guide what you might be interested now in life is really, really fun.
Well, and this is such a muscle building exercise.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
it's giving yourself permission that you don't need, but need to remind yourself that you have.
Yeah. Yes,
And
exactly.
going to a concert or going to a play or going to a nice restaurant or going to the market and getting a juicy peach, when you do the things that you remember that you already like, I don't know, I just feel like it reactivates you and it's like, oh, I forgot what it felt like to feel good.
Yes, or to even say what I want, that concert I want to go to, or that trip I want to take, or that book I want to read, like what I want matters. And then we begin retraining the brain. Hey, I get to slot in on the calendar today. I get to make plans around me. I get to come back to this joy list and check it out and see, what have I not re-engaged in lately and make that a priority again. So,
Yeah.
and then the brain has a really hard time ignoring you.
I am working my ass off. Why am I still struggling? This is part of a conversation that I had with a woman that is about to join Oraline. Much like the other women inside of Oraline, she has had a really successful first round of her business. All the women in this space have had a successful first go, whether that's in their career within corporate or the first round of their business. But then something happened. Something shifted. They got caught into a framework. They wanted to go bigger. They wanted to make some changes, but realized, hey, this shit is not getting me to where I want to be. And this particular woman is realizing that, hey, hustling, running my shit into the ground, I cannot create from that. There's more work that I want to do, but not this way. She's like, Laura, I just need you to help me build this thing. Help me move in the right direction. Help me to do this my way. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to ditch all the shit that she was told that she has to do. We're going to get a really solid foundation with her systems and her process in place. And there's a few big chunky bits of our business that we're going to temporarily put on pause so that we can build this stronger foundation for the long term. If you're standing there with your head on your hand saying, oh my God, are you talking about me? Like, how did you get inside my brain? Then let's jump on a clarity session. I tend to rock people's worlds when they realize how deeply we go and how quickly we go there, but I can tell you right now, we pinpoint the problem and then we get a solution. Not only does she know what we're about to do, she's ready to do it. Go to lauraora.com/clarity, grab one of those spots, and let's get this shit moving for you. It does, because now it's in the forefront. It's not tucked away in a drawer somewhere.
Yeah,
it's in the forefront. One other thing that you mentioned earlier that I really loved, and I talk about this in my keynote, is what do I want in this moment? Such a powerful way to just re-engage moment by moment. Like, we're not trying to figure out a whole path. We're not trying to solve the puzzle, but like when you're at a restaurant, I give the example of, you're sitting around a table with all your coworkers or, fellow businesswomen or your friends even, and everyone's ordering the grilled chicken Caesar salad and it gets to you and you feel obligated to get the grilled chicken Caesar salad because you don't want to be that one weird one. Right. But your body's like, I really want a burger. Like today's the day I really want a burger. And when you ask yourself, what do I actually want in this moment? And you give yourself the permission to order the burger, one, not only are you going to feel a lot better, but I can almost guarantee you someone else at that table is going to raise their hand and be like, oh, actually, I'd like to change something. And they're going to get something that they want to. And I think that that's something really powerful with women is sometimes we need just to see someone else leading by example or to give us borrowed permission.
Yes, that's so beautifully said. I think that helps a great deal. I think also, and we don't talk about this enough, is learning how to sit in the discomfort of going against the group, right? Learning how to be okay with ourselves. It's one thing to say, this is what I want. And then there's the excitement of the articulation of that, putting it into the world, breathing life into it, followed usually by, oh shit, what did I just do? What are they going to think of me? Are they going to leave me out? Are they going to talk about me behind my back? All the stuff that we do whenever we claim something or say what we want or take up space. And so it's the two-step thing here. It's the one, getting good at saying it, and then the most important part, I think, is like being with ourselves through that journey, which is often super uncomfortable.
Yeah. Like, how do you sit with that discomfort? What do you do in that space when your brain starts going a mile, 100 miles an hour?
Yeah, well, I am going to sound like a broken record. I apologize, but it is like normalizing that experience. It's usually that simple. Oh, right. This is the part where I feel super uncomfortable. This is the part where I did the brave thing. And now I'm feeling restless. I'm feeling unsettled. I'm feeling untethered. Yes, that's the emotion my body is in. I can be in this experience. It's worth it to take the brave step. It doesn't feel amazing. I'm vibrating, I'm shaking, I'm bouncing in my seat. It doesn't feel great, but this is always the part that comes next, and it will eventually pass. Right? Like, because anytime we break the rhythm that the brain is in and we do something different, we go off-roading, we go off script, there is that follow-up of discomfort every single time. Every time. We're never going to get around that discomfort part. So the more we can prepare for it, meet ourselves there with a heaping amount of grace and normalization, the easier we make it, instead of, oh my God, that means I said the wrong thing. It's not what it means at all.
Instead of going immediately to, I messed up.
Right.
Instead, we go immediately to, this is part of the process.
Yeah.
And I wasn't happy with what was before, right? Or I've outgrown something that was before. the only way to feel better is to walk through this discomfort.
Yes.
I wish we could just like, bibbity bobbity boo and, the changes are made. I mean, we would all be gajillionaires, right? If that were the case, but that's just not how things work. So it is
Nope.
it is honoring that space of like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
feeling those sensations.
Yeah.
I'm noticing it in my body. I can feel myself getting weird, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
and it's okay. Let me just let this ride out instead of
Right.
making it mean something about me.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
The other thing that usually comes in this space is our good old friend guilt.
Mm-hmm.
We can't end this conversation today without talking about guilt.
Uh-huh.
Because if there's one thing, I mean, women are incredible at everything, right? But if there's one thing that the female brain is exceptional at, it's feeling guilty.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
when we're making a change, or you're disrupting a pattern, or you talked about, not wanting to go to your corporate job anymore and leaving that, or making changes in your marriage. Like we're causing a ripple effect, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then the guilt sets in.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me
Yeah.
about that space.
Yes. Well, I think guilt is something that women have been socialized and taught to feel. I give us, it's not our fault that we feel guilty. We have inherited guilt as an acceptable way to, um, well, let's call it this, like a lens through which we need to see our lives. It's like we're supposed to. It's like what we are supposed to do. Someone created that before us, not us. Someone else created that. And so I think that we accept it as part of the deal. I was coaching a woman, in fact, the other day, and no less than 5 times in the conversation, she said, "But I just feel so guilty." And she didn't even hear herself say it. And so finally it was like, I'm just going to pause you there. And I'm going to point out the 5 times you said, I feel so guilty. And I really want to dig in. What exactly do you mean when you say that? Turned out to just be a throwaway expression that had no real meaning. And she didn't even know what that emotion felt like in her body. But it was just on autopilot. It was just a story. And so I think that definitely happens a lot. And I think that we have the opportunity to consider like we've inherited this and we no longer have to carry it any longer. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think that's liberating.
Mm-hmm.
I think the immediate then question is how?
Right.
How do we let go of something that's been ingrained in us for centuries? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
if we're being
Mm-hmm.
honest, I
Yeah,
mean, that
exactly.
energy has been passed down from century to century, decade to decade, family
Right.
member to family member.
Yes.
And then we've got society involved in all that.
Yes.
So how do
Yes.
we start to notice when we're feeling guilty, and how do we give ourselves that permission instead of going down that spiral?
Right. So, like with anything, amazing questions are our best friend here. So, our brain cannot resist an open-ended question. And so, things like, if I didn't choose to feel guilty, what else would I want to feel here? If I didn't, or maybe choose is too far of a stretch. So maybe if I didn't have to feel guilty, what would I like this experience to be instead? So those are brilliant coaching questions that just get your brain kind of curious about other possibilities. And even saying like, I am not choosing guilt. And thinking of guilt as a choice, not as a prerequisite or mandatory. The whole mom guilt thing, I'm not sure. I'm sorry. I don't know whether you're a mom or not. So,
I am.
um, okay. So, but that whole thing of like, are you going to go back to work? And, the oh, are you feeling so guilty going back to work? And it was like, no. Like, even just breaking up with the idea that even though lots of people, lots of moms before me have thought that is the way, I'm supposed to
Mm,
feel guilty when I go to work, they were doing the best they could. I just don't think I'm going to inherit that for me. It doesn't mean we don't have moments of feeling guilty, but to have it be our overall experience, because essentially what we're saying is, oh, you're doing it wrong. It's that reinforcement of you're not doing it the way that you're supposed to do it,
yeah.
which
I
we have to like, we have to, for the sake of for all women everywhere, we have to break this cycle.
Yeah. Well, I hadn't realized it until what you just said. It has been ingrained as a natural part of the process.
Yes.
So we've been programmed to believe that, okay, and this is the point where I feel guilty.
Yes.
We're not saying
Yes.
that in so many words, of course, but that that's what we've been taught. Like, oh, I'm making a change. Now I feel guilty. Oh, I'm doing
Right.
something that I want to do. Now I feel guilty. I want to go back to work. I feel guilty. I want to leave this work. I feel guilty. It's like,
Mm.
why?
Right.
Why?
Right.
Because these changes, more often than not, are for something better,
Hmm.
to better yourself, which then betters the people around you. Like, I
Hmm.
mean, it's a domino effect in the right direction this time.
Exactly.
So why do we feel
Exactly.
guilty about bettering ourselves, which then ultimately betters the people in our lives?
Right. Right. Well, dangerous to want what you want, dangerous to have what you want, dangerous to take up space, dangerous to say, I want to be a mother and I want to work. I want both. I get to have both. Or I get to make these decisions and those decisions, and one isn't at the expense of the other. I mean, there's so much here to challenge, but it's I mean, I think also just being incredibly gracious about where we've received these messages and, like we said, passed down from mothers before us and grandmothers. And, it's like always thinking, oh, they were doing the best they possibly could with what they had to work with at the time, setting me up for success in their best way possible. And I don't know that I'm going to carry this part forward. I don't know that I'm going to automatically adopt this belief because it feels terrible, right? And going to work and being a mom is hard enough without layering all this unnecessary suffering on top of it of like I'm supposed to fit into some like club of guilty women. What? No, that's like not a thing.
Oh, screw that club. No,
Yeah.
let's dismantle that club because
Yeah.
that feels like mean girl stuff.
Yeah.
And the mean girl is all of our own individual brains being mean to ourselves.
Exactly. Exactly.
Katie, I think the through line that I've caught on to in this whole conversation today is questioning the norms.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
a challenge of challenging,
Yes,
right?
it is.
Stopping in the moments instead of going with what you've always known or always felt or have been subscribed to for a long time, and just creating some space in between things
Mm-hmm.
to hear your own self, your own actual voice versus all of the voices that have been implanted.
Yes. Yes. And it's hard to do in the moment. So, for those who are newer to this process of challenging the challenges, I think, even if it's a brief reflection at the end of the day, what did I say today on autopilot that maybe misrepresented me? Like when I said, oh, I feel so guilty, it just slipped out. Did I really mean that? And would I choose to say that about my situation again tomorrow? Like that's super valid. As we practice this more, we get better catching it in the moment. But for those who are just starting, I don't even catch it in the moment half the time because my brain is always trying to screw me over too. So it's like that reflection at the end of the day, super gentle. It's like, okay, how did I talk about myself? How did I represent myself? How accurate was I? Where did I say something that I just said to fit in, but didn't really mean? Okay, All right, that's what happened. How do I want to do tomorrow? Can I make like a 1 degree change tomorrow in being more truthful, being more honest, maybe questioning that guilt isn't a lens that I have to see my life through?
That's perfect. Beautiful. Perfect
Mm,
way to end today's chat
mm,
here today.
mm.
Katie, I love your energy. I love the work that you're doing. And I know that you're helping women to live a life that feels like it really belongs to them. So, what is the best
Yes.
place to find and connect with you?
My website, katiepulsifercoaching.com, and I have a free resource there, which is a quiz, like a getting unstuck quiz that teases out many of the concepts we talked about today in terms of guilt and feeling selfish or not knowing what you want. I also have a Substack newsletter that I write as well. So those are mainly the two places. And I'm a little bit on Instagram and a little bit on Facebook, but yeah.
Perfect. We will link your Substack and a link to the quiz in the show notes below.
Thank you.
And I'm curious, what does gutsy mean to you?
Oh my gosh, I sat with this question for a while. I love it so much. It's my favorite part of your podcast when I
Yay.
listen. So I think in this moment, since that is thematically what we've been talking about, gutsy to me is being in the paradox of my desires.
Mm,
So, what I mean by this is this desire for freedom and discipline at the same time, and how paradoxical those are, but I want both, and how to like lean into the friction. Or I am trying to lift heavy things and be stronger, and I have a really soft, gushy belly because I've had a hysterectomy and nothing looks the same in the middle of my body anymore, right? So it's like strong muscles, soft belly, or fiercely wanting to belong and then craving my independence. And instead of like one or the other, it's like both. I desire both. And how do I live in that friction, the paradox of those two things? So that feels super gutsy to me right now.
One of the things that Katie says that I'm like, fuck yes, is when she said, I rebuilt a life that reflects who I actually am, not who I was trained to be. God, if that is not a rally cry, I don't know what is. Take this episode as the permission that you don't need, but maybe needed to hear today. That you don't have to continue to push yourself to do shit the way that everyone else has told you to. And that making these bigger changes, peeling back your business, shifting something in your personal life, doesn't have to be done overnight. It's all about those small, gutsy moves that add up to those bigger changes. If there's a friend or a business colleague in your world that you know needs to hear this message today, would you send this episode to her? The more women that we have following who they are and what they actually want to do, the better this world continues to get. If we're not yet friends on the interwebs, come find me. My handle is @thatlauraora on all the platforms. And until I see you next time, stay gutsy.